Hello everybody and welcome to Goldbridge Live and Uncut, where I get to say what I really want to say. So, Zinedine Zidane, next Manchester United manager. This has come out overnight, really late last night from L'Equipe. French reports that Zidane wants a job in the Premier League next and Manchester United would be the job that he would want. Looking around, because it's always very important to look around and get other people's opinions, there seems to be quite a lot of Manchester United fans that would love to have Zinedine Zidane as Manchester United manager. My initial announcement is going to be no fucking way no. And I'm sorry to swear, but come on, we're not Arsenal. If Zinedine Zidane has got his eye on Manchester United, someone needs to poke him in the eye and tell him to look elsewhere for a year. We've got Mourinho. We've just started the season. He deserves the third year. He got us second place. We've got to back the manager. That's how I feel at the moment. I mean, for anybody who would swap Mourinho for Zidane now, to be honest, I do know some United fans who would do that, and in some ways I do respect them because they've given up on Jose and they've got their reasons for that. But the reality is, I don't know. I just don't see the point. I don't see the point in going down this road. It reminds me a lot of the sort of thing Arsenal would do. And you know what? Arsenal were quite right in some ways to get rid of Arsene Wenger, but Manchester United fans wanting to push Jose Mourinho out. This isn't the dark days of David Moyes, and it's not the end of the Van Gaal era. This is a manager that's been a bit divisive, that's been a bit negative, that plays, football that maybe Manchester United fans don't want. But the results and the position of the club certainly don't warrant him being sacked, and certainly don't warrant that we should get rid of him for Zinedine Zidane. And on top of that, what I would just say about Zidane is Marcelo, Varane and Ramos, Modric, Kroos, Ronaldo. These players are the best players in the world in their position. And one thing I was always massively impressed with about Zinedine Zidane, I remember the Juventus Champions League Cup final a couple of years ago. The Liverpool one was easy, let's be honest. I'll always have a little wind up at Liverpool fans. But no, the Juventus final, I thought in the first half, Juventus were the better team. And a few times I've seen Real Madrid last season as well in the Champions League, a few times in the Premier League as well. Sorry, not the Premier League, La Liga as well. I've seen that a few times whereby they are they're not the dominant Real Madrid that you would expect. And I think that's where Zidane, I mean, you can't argue with somebody who won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. That's where with Zidane, for me, he was absolutely sensational as the Real Madrid manager, is that he took them away from that Galactico era where, you score 5, we'll score 6, and turned them into a team. And I saw them grind out results. I saw them have bad halves and then have a good second half. They weren't always at their best. And I think that was always the impressive thing about what Zinedine Zidane did with Real Madrid, is that he turned them into a proper team. And I think the midfield 3 maybe wasn't the midfield 3 that Real Madrid traditionally would have, Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, but the balance was probably the best midfield 3 in world football. And I think Zinedine Zidane, although he was one of the best footballers to play the game of the last 30 years, as a manager, I think he appreciated the finer things, but he also appreciated the grit and organisational skills you need to be a very successful team. And 3 Champions Leagues in a row will not be forgotten anytime soon, but it certainly wasn't 3 Champions Leagues in a row in a time where Real Madrid were dominant and everyone else was terrible. There were teams that on their day could have beaten Real Madrid, but Zinedine Zidane certainly had the upper hand. And he's a good manager. Zinedine Zidane's a good manager. And I think in a year's time, if it goes the way some Manchester United fans feel it will do under Jose Mourinho, then maybe Zinedine Zidane should be considered. But we would also we must also be very, I don't want to use respectful, and I don't want to sort of force my opinion on people, but I do have concerns when United fans are chanting, let's get Zidane all over social media. And we've got Jose Mourinho in the job. I just think it's very premature. And I think it's very Arsenal-esque to be doing that sort of thing. The board, I don't believe, will go and get Zinedine Zidane anyway. I think that that is certainly something that's not going to happen. But I suppose there is an irony there. There is an irony in a way. I'm sure Jose Mourinho won't like it, but let's be honest, in them last few months of Van Gaal, Mourinho was on the shoulder of Van Gaal. Mourinho was in the press from pretty much... Van Gaal was sacked in May. And from January, the press were all over Mourinho coming to Manchester United, which we know for a fact wasn't definitely happening. I think if Van Gaal had got United top 4, he probably would have stayed in the job. But Manchester United certainly had plans in place for Jose Mourinho, and Jose Mourinho made a very, very good job of putting his name into the press and around Manchester United, and he ended up with that job. So you can't moan about it when you've done that same thing. But somebody just said there, Brani J says, I'd rather have Giggs than Zidane. I've seen a few people in the live comments there. You're not bothered about the United stand. I am bothered about the United stand. I did the United stand at 8 o'clock last night, and I'm doing the United stand at 1 o'clock today. So this is just my channel where I can go live. And United stand has never been a channel where we just chuck 4 or 5 videos up a day. So this is just, I personally, I don't think this warrants a video on the United stand. I don't want to sort of demean or undermine the manager enough to start talking about Zidane to United. I don't think it's a headline that a United fan channel should be talking about. But if I want to go live about it, I will do, and I will give my opinion, and hopefully people will give theirs. But my opinion on it is that Zinedine Zidane is a good manager, but at the moment, take your focus off Manchester United for a year, and let's see what United can achieve Mourinho. Because if Mourinho was to win the title, or Mourinho was to have a very good season, would he leave Manchester United? I don't think he would. So we can all dream, can't we? Mourinho bought this on himself, says S1H13. Thoughts on a director of football to United, says Billy T. I've spoke about that a lot of times. I think that Jose Mourinho doesn't want a director of football at the club, but I think that the club will do that because Woodward's just not strong enough or knowledgeable enough in the football sense to do it. Anyone is better than Mourinho, says Chaz. I don't think he's the right man yet, but give him a few months. It's not the right time to get rid of him yet, but give him the few months. What about the people who want Pochettino, says Atashavim. Well, Pochettino or Zidane, I think everyone would have to say Zidane, wouldn't they? Look, I'll say what I want on here, and I wouldn't do it on the United stand, but if you're asking me who I would like United's next manager to be, I've always been quite a big fan of Laurent Blanc. And I know he's a bit of a boring decision when you look at it, but when you actually look at Laurent Blanc's history as a player and as a manager, he's been out of management for a while. But what he did at Bordeaux, winning the French league with Bordeaux, was pretty impressive. But also his promotion of youth and the style of football he wants to play. You look at what he did as a player. He did play at Manchester United, so he understands what the club's all about. But he also played for Barcelona a lot. He won big tournaments with France. He understands football, and I think he would be a good manager. But I'm not thinking down that road at the moment. I have to believe and hope that Jose Mourinho will be the manager for Manchester United that can sort things out. I mean, I have read some quotes about Jose that still worry me about the game against Brighton, and he's talking about the players coming back, and he mentions Fellaini about 4 times in one sentence. You know, that worries me that he might start Fellaini, and if he does that, then I'm sorry, he's going to start losing my faith again. But at the moment, I don't have any reason not to back Jose Mourinho. I think he was very positive after the game against Leicester. I think he's been positive in his team selections, and he's offered a glimpse in the way that we want to play. But you know what? If he does go back to playing Valencia as captain, and he does start chucking Fellaini in the midfield again over people like Fred and Pereira, then he very fast will lose my faith in him. But at the moment, I do want him. I do want him to be our manager, and I think it's a bit embarrassing that we would want to get rid of him. Mark, remember it was Jose that kept Fellaini and gave him the power, says Gazel Cesar. Yeah, he's done a lot wrong. And I'm certainly not 100% this is going to work and 100% he's the right manager. But at the moment, I think you've got to back him. I mean, this is an interesting comment from Jaron George, who said Zidane had a Real Madrid team which was good. He can't manage United. He had a very good team at Real Madrid, but I don't think it's fair to say that he couldn't manage Manchester United, because I think he proved himself at Real Madrid to be a very, very good tactical manager, and he did good things there. But I think, as I said last night, there are players at Manchester United that a good manager could get a lot more out of. Anyway, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Daily content on this channel. Drop us a like. Give us your comments below. Goldbridge live and uncut. Loads of different things planned on here. Get involved and give us your comments below. Thanks for watching. Zidane to United. What do you think? back Jose or get Zidane in.